This is Tom Rudebush for Post 22 Baseball. We have two special guests tonight. To my left, Casey Keller. To my right, Dan Lewis. They are both agents, owners of Farmers Union Insurance Company. And first of all, before we talk about the battle at the ballpark, it's all to benefit, of course, the Food Bank of Rapid City, along with Feeding South Dakota, helping to sponsor this. First of all, I'll ask Casey simply because, Dan, I know Casey from back of his Post 22 days, and I know some stories that we'll talk about later off camera. But we'll start with Casey. How did you get involved in this particular project with Post 22? Because it's certainly a great project, a great game with Post 320, and you're sponsoring tonight.
We are. I spoke with Dan, and we wanted to do something together, support local baseball in Rapid City. It was such a huge part of my life growing up. I reached out to the head coach of Post 22, Mitch Messer, and wanted to see if we could work together on figuring out some way where we could sponsor the night, benefit the local baseball programs in Rapid City, and obviously a big night for Post 22 and Post 320 in the baseball game. So that's kind of how we got it started.
Dan, talk a little bit about Farmers Union Insurance.
We're just like to sponsor youth activities. We spend about $60,000 a year for South Dakota Athletics Association, and we want to continue doing this. We've always sponsored, as Lewis Agency, part of Post 22 and 320 a little bit. One of our sons had to play over there, and the other one played here, so we've been part of both programs, and it's just Rapid City is a baseball town, and Casey and I love sports and kids and athletics, and we want to be a part of it.
How long have you had the Lewis Agency?
Since 1974.
1974.
My dad, Elmer Lewis, started it, and then I've been continuing it on. So
that's even a year before I became associated with Post 22. That's a long time.
Yeah, we've been season ticket holders here for a long time. It's a good program, and everywhere you go around the state, everybody asks how does the Legion team look this year. So it's easy to say it looks good.
And
the Keller Agency, when did that start?
We started in 2011, and have been rolling ever since. I've always been, from an independent agency standpoint, we've been growing every year, and every year we try to do something more with the community. That's our goal, whether it can be with the baseball programs of Rapid City, Feeding America, the Club for Boys, and some other stuff we've done things with. We're just trying to integrate our agencies into the community. That's what we're all about. So since 2011, and hopefully every year we get a little bit stronger with that.
Dan, Feeding South Dakota, putting food into the food bank. We're asking the fans to bring a can of food or more, 2 or 3 or 4 cans, whatever you want to bring on Friday night. That's such a worthy cause because we do have a lot of needy families that could use the help.
Oh, that's a good partnership for us. We want to be part of the community. We also just helped this last weekend at the Young Life, helping kids in need or all that. So any of that we can do to help, we'd be glad to be a part of it. So absolutely. We're going to be going around on the Ballfield on Friday night and doing the 50-50, so we'll raise a lot of money because we'll make them dig deep.
Casey, give me the one highlight that you had in your Post 22 career.
Oh, man, there'd be a lot, but pretty simple. And hopefully a lot of my brothers that I played with back in 2002 get to see this video. We ended up finishing 3rd in Danville, Virginia that year. Obviously, probably the most exciting time of my life playing baseball. 3rd in the nation's a pretty big deal for Legion baseball. Some of those guys are still my best friends, and I talk to them all the time. So hopefully they get to see this. By far the most exciting time of my life, for sure.
It doesn't seem possible that that's 15 years ago. But,
I know.
Casey, thank you on behalf of Post 22 and Feeding South Dakota. Dan,
thank you.
Thank you very much. This is Tom Rudebush with our guests Casey Keller, Dan Lewis for Post 22 Baseball. Don't forget Friday night, Feeding South Dakota, Post 22, Rapid City Post 320. First pitch at 7 p.m. on Friday night, sponsored by Farmers Union Insurance.